Yo, what's going on, everyone? My name is Kelly Jones, and today I'm going to be doing another artist review. And we are, honestly, we are almost at 60 subscribers, man. And honestly, I'm really happy for that. But it'd be even greater if we can get to 60 and maybe even more in the future. Maybe by the end of the year, we can possibly be at 70. That is the goal for 2023, to at least get to 60 or 70. That'd be fucking amazing if we could, man. And honestly, I got some really exciting things planned if we can get to 60 subscribers, maybe at least 65 by the middle of this year, or maybe even sooner. Sooner or later, I would be honored if we can get to 60 plus subscribers, or at least 70 by this year. It'd be phenomenal if we can fucking do that. And honestly, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm certainly gonna be doing something to thank you guys for the 60 plus. But first, let's just focus on getting to 60. Anyways, man, I'm really excited to discuss this artist review because I've been a fan of this dude when I first heard of him on the Strange Music roster. And this guy, he goes by the name of not only Johnny Valiant and White Jesus, but he also goes by the iconic name Rittz, bitch. Not really bitch, but really, he goes by Rittz, man. And honestly, man, I'm really interested in talking about this dude because I have been a fan of him since, I would say, 2016, 2014, 2016, around that time, when he was about to drop the album Top of the Line. And that really caught my attention because I was really deep into strange music and everyone that was joining the label and all that shit. Like, I was completely stuck up on strange music shit, really, like, really super fanning out and shit. And when I saw this dude, like, dropping videos about this upcoming album in 2016, I was ecstatic. Like, I couldn't stop replaying some of the same songs that he was releasing. And one of them happened to be the song Top of the Line, Ghost Story, and Propane. But before we get into that, I want you guys to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you haven't done that. And also, I'm dropping another podcast episode this upcoming Sunday, so you guys might want to check that out. It's going to be really interesting because I'm not going to reveal much. You guys are just going to have to listen to it on a P-Thing podcast. Yeah, so link is in the description down below to the podcast on Spotify, or you can just find the podcast on whatever other podcast streaming app. It's out there. You guys just gotta Google it. Check this shit out. Google it, look for it. It's mostly on Spotify. And also hit the bell so you can be notified whenever I drop videos and drop podcast episodes. Just follow me on that as well. Anyways, before we get into that, let's just get into the intro of who is Rittz. Now, he goes by Rittz, but his real name is actually Jonathan Matthew McCollum, better known by his stage name Rittz, is an American rapper. His debut, The Life and Times of Johnny Valiant, was released on April 30th, 2013, rising to the number 8 on Billboard's Hot R&B and Hip Hop Songs charts. His next two albums, Next to Nothing and Top of the Line, peaked at number 3 on the same chart. His fourth album, Last Call, hit number 43 on the Billboard 200. All of these were released under Tech Nine's music label, Strange Music. Now, I've been a fan of this dude for a while now, and I've been really interested in his music and his style, especially for a dude who was really deep into strange music. When I discovered this dude, I was somewhat digging some of his music. I thought that Next to Nothing was pretty decent, but we'll get to that album in a moment. First, we're going to be discussing my thoughts from his very first album, The Life and Times of Johnny Valiant. Honestly, The Life and Times of Johnny Valiant was, it was a 6 out of 7 for me. Or a 6 out of 10 for me. I don't know why the fuck I said 7. It was a 6 out of 10 for me. I wasn't really feeling it all that much. I mean, there was like at least 3, maybe 4 songs that I was really fucking with. Songs such as For Real. There was For Real. There was Fuck Swag. There was Sober featuring Sugar Free. Say No More. Switch Lanes. And Never Letting Go. Those were my main go-to songs on this album, but I was not really digging a lot of this album itself. I kind of thought that this album was a bit of a letdown in my opinion. I wasn't really fucking with it, but at the same time, again, this was like early discovering Rittz kind of shit, like I was barely just getting familiar with the dude, but I was not really digging his music. So with the 2013 album, Life and Times of Johnny Valiant, I was not really feeling this. I don't know, it was just, for 19 songs, that's a lot to put out. But again, this album was a bit of a 6 out of 10 for me. It was alright, but I didn't really care for many songs on it. As for the 2014 album, Next to Nothing, this one was a little bit better. It had quite a few good songs on it. A lot of good songs that really slapped, including songs such as Crown Royal, Laugh, Bounce, featuring Twista. There was White Rapper that really, that I kind of thought was pretty dope. And then there was, I think it was In My Zone with B.O.B. that I thought was pretty sick with it. I was really fucking with that shit. I thought it was dope. As for the other ones, they were cool and all. They were decent. I was digging them. So, Next to Nothing. I guess I agree with the title. It was alright. I'd give this one a 7.5. It was alright, It was cool, it was decent, I kind of fucked with it, but not by much. Also, there was another song that Rittz did with Yelawolf. I can't remember what the fuck it was. Rittz also dropped a bunch of really dope singles as well. A bunch of dope singles such as Bloody Murder featuring Tech Nine, and it was another one with Yelawolf. I'm gonna have to fucking search this shit real quick. Okay, the song I was thinking of was called Sleep at Night featuring Yelawolf, and that was on the White Jesus Lucy's, which came out in 2019, even though this song came out like around 2015, 2016, So this song was much older, including the songs such as Bloody Murder. You know, it's like these two songs came out much, much further back than this album ever did. But I mean, this song was like, it was dope nonetheless, you know, and I remember really liking this song a lot, especially during a time when I was dealing with some shit with my ex. So I was really relating with this song, kind of, but not really. And the fucking music video, it was really, it was an intense music video when this shit came out, you know, with fucking Rittz and Yellow Wolf destroying a fucking party and shit, and like a fucking beating the fuck out of their ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend and shit. Like, the video was nuts, but it was dope none the same. Not that I would promote anything like that. I mean, that's completely fucked up. But I don't know, it's like, again, it was something that I was really like keeping on repeat during a rough time with my ex. So Sleep at Night was one of my personal favorites. Alright, next album we're going to be discussing is the 2016 album Top of the Line. And honestly, man, this shit, it really became the fucking go-to album for me whenever I was like bumping my shit everywhere I went, you know? It's like anytime I went somewhere, one of these songs on this was my go-to. Like, especially with singles such as Top of the Line, Ghost Story, MVP, Propane, and My Window. You know, these were my fucking go-to songs every time I was about to go somewhere. It's like I would instantly press play on this and then just let the rest play on shuffle. You know, like whatever fucking song I had in my library. But one of these songs, they were fucking sick with it, you know? And again, this was the album that got me into Rittz. And I remember fucking really wanting this album so much that I fucking like had to bootleg this shit. Like, I had to fucking download it online just to get a copy of it because I was broke at the time and I didn't know anyone that sold a CD. Like, not even the fucking indoor swap meet that I used to go to. They didn't sell any strange music shit, especially anything that was like brand new, you know. And where I lived, there was uh there was I was almost about to say Blockbuster. They don't fucking exist anymore. There was a Target that was in the city of Palmdale, but the problem is it was too fucking far to get to, especially on foot. And I didn't have money to get the CD, so my only option of listening to the album was by fucking downloading the shit. But I was so eager to get my hands on the album just to hear it and shit. So when I finally got this shit, I was blown away by this album to a point to where I'm gonna give Top of the Line a 10 out of 10 because again, I was really fucking with this album. This was the album that really like caught my interest with the artist. And then with the 2017 album Last Call, this one is another 10 out of 10 because I remember moving here in El Paso. Everyone was talking about this album. And I remember even seeing some videos about this album dropping on YouTube and shit. And this was when I just recently got back onto Spotify and listening to music again on Spotify because at the time I had Spotify, but it was under like an old profile name. So I got my Spotify. I went on to a bunch of artists that I listened to, and I discovered this was available on it, so I instantly fucking pressed play on this shit, and I've had this shit on repeat for about a week or so, more or less. And again, I was just really, really digging this. And this was the one CD that I did finally get my hands on. It was on a paperback CD. Like, like this was the one and only CD that I can fucking get my hands on because there was a Target nearby and it was a gift. And I was completely wrong. It ain't paperback because last time I checked, paperbacks were, I wouldn't say it was paperback, but the one I was looking for was a deluxe. And I'm not gonna fucking complain about it and shit and say like, oh, I wanted the deluxe edition. No, I took this as a gift happily because it was the one CD that I wanted anyways. And even though this was only a 16 song album, geez, I actually haven't heard this shit in a very long time, to be honest. I did check out the deluxe edition, which had 21 songs on it. I loved it nonetheless. And I'm going to give Last Call another 10 out of 10. I was really fucking with this one. As for White Jesus Lucy's that came out in 2019, I wasn't really feeling this all that much. You know, it was cool for 7 songs, but I think there was only like 3, 4. Well, yeah, for 7, I only liked about half of them, more or less. So I'd say that this one was a 7 out of 10. This was a 7 out of 10 album, you know, because I only liked some of them but didn't care for the rest. So for 7, I only liked maybe 4 songs on this. It was alright. I kind of dig it, but not really. It was, I don't know, I just didn't really care for it, especially with the fact that it was so fucking short, and there were some songs that I couldn't fuck with it, you know, I couldn't get into it. And the same thing could be for Volume 2. This one was another 7 out of 10 that I just didn't care for. You know, I didn't really care to listen to it all that much. And then the 2019 album, Put a Crown on It. This one was a 12-song album, but I've only liked about, I think I only liked about 6 of them out of the whole thing. I didn't really fuck with all that much. I mean, there were some that were dope, so I'm just gonna give this one uh, 7.5. I mean, it was alright. Not really what I hoped for. I expected better, but not really. Picture Perfect, this one I remember was really sick with it. So there was a lot of really interesting shit on this album, and including the one with Tech Nine. I thought that song was fucking hardcore. So I'm gonna give this one a 8 out of 10. No, an 8.5 out of 10. You know, because I was really fucking with this one a whole lot more than I thought I would. And finally, with the 2021 album SOS, this one was actually a little bit. It was a little depressing, but at the same time, it was good. You know. So for SOS, I would give this one a 6.5. It was okay, but I don't know. It's just a lot of it was not really all that great, you know. But other than that, I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And again, new episode on the podcast coming back. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.